So it's probably Sunday night right now when you're watching this video, and you're currently Googling all the ways of how you can quit your job so that you don't have to go back tomorrow. I get it, we've all been there. Or maybe you're like me, a candle business owner or some other small business owner who is looking at eventually taking your business full-time and wanting to just know kind of what the first steps should be and what you should be looking at doing financially and stuff like that in order to make that happen. So in today's video, we're going to be going over the 3 things that I think you should do before you quit your day job. Yes, that does mean that you're probably not going to be able to quit your job tomorrow, but don't worry, we'll get there eventually. And now, before you click off of this video just because you are sad that I am not giving you permission to quit your job tomorrow, I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's your life. You do what you want. But let's get into these 3 things that I think you should do before you quit your job. Number 1, and this is gonna be a big one, is pay off all of your debt. Now, when I say pay off all of your debt, I don't necessarily mean your house and things like that. However, I do think you should pay off at least most of everything else besides your house, if you have a house or a mortgage right now. Personally, I just really don't like debt. I think that it's just not great to have. You're paying interest on it, so it's just, you know, the longer you have it, the more you're paying and stuff like that. And so I think that it's just a really good thing to knock that out first thing, because that is one or maybe multiple, depending on how much debt you have, that might be a huge weight off of your shoulders that your business doesn't have to sustain and doesn't have to make that extra money every month in order to pay off all of those extra bills, all those extra debts and things like that. So that would be my first step, I would say, is to, like I said, pay off all of your debt. So that includes things like your car payments, student loans, credit cards, anything like that that you have that is debt should probably be paid off. And I like to use the snowball method from Dave Ramsey, if you've ever heard of him. I don't fully agree with Dave on everything, but I do agree with him on a lot of things, and that is for sure this method, which is called the snowball method. It's basically just where you pay off the smallest debt first. So say you have credit cards, and say you have one that's like $500, and then you have another one that's like $1,000, and so on, or whatever. Hopefully you don't have a ton of credit cards, but you know what I mean. So you would pay off the first one, the smallest one first. So pay off the one that's like $500, and then you'd put all that extra money that you were putting towards that one into the next one as well. So you don't get to, once you pay that off, it's not like you just get to keep that extra money. You put that, all that plus what you were already putting towards the other one, towards the next one, so that you can pay off all of your debt faster and it begins to snowball. So like I said, I would highly suggest paying off all things like any student loans that you have, any car payments, any credit card debt, anything like that. I would highly suggest that you pay that off first. That way you don't have to make that extra money in your business in order to pay for those debts and things like that. And not only that, like, then you have so much extra money per month to just do whatever you want with, and it's so nice. Real fast, before we get to this next point, I wanted to take a moment and introduce myself. My name is Nick with the 1994 Candle Co., and I make videos to help inspire other candle makers to take their business or side hustle to a full-time passion. So if that sounds like you, it would mean so much to me if you would give this video a thumbs up if you are finding value in it, as well as subscribe to the channel so that we can continue hanging out. And then once you've paid off all of your debt and you are feeling amazing because you have paid off all of your debt, and it feels great, and you have some extra cash flow and stuff like that because you don't have it tied up in debt and things like that. Step number 2, I would say, is to save at least 6 months worth of expenses. So you're gonna need to figure out exactly how much money you're gonna need per month. So that includes all of your expenses. So if you still have a house payment or rent, whatever, you have that. Any utilities you still have to pay. Hopefully you won't have a car payment because you paid it off if you followed the first step. But you know, you're still gonna have to get things like gas and oil changes, things like that. You still have to maintain the car even though it's paid off at this point. But any other kind of expenses that you have, so food, etc., you're gonna figure out exactly how much you spent over the last month or maybe even 2 months from your budget and things like that, and just figure out exactly how much you need in order to make it through a full month of living. And then you're going to take that number and multiply it by 6, and then you need to save whatever that amount of money is. So that way you have at least 6 months of expenses saved up. That way if your business hits a few slow weeks or months, or you know, just something happens and you kind of need to take a break for a little bit or something like that, you still have that extra cushion in order to make up that difference in those bills and stuff like that. You don't have to like run and try and figure out what to do or anything like that, because you've got a little bit of saved money so that it can pay for your bills and things like that in case whatever happens with your business. So basically, be prepared for the things that you can't really always be prepared for. And it's totally up to you. You definitely can save more than 6 months worth of expenses. I've heard of some people doing a full year, some people do 2 years and stuff like that. So that is totally up to you. If you would like to save that much, you are more than welcome to, obviously. For me personally, I just chose to do 6 months worth of expenses just because my wife does make more money than me. I'm not ashamed to admit that or anything. And so it just doesn't really make sense for me to be saving forever, just because like I said, she does make quite a bit more money than me, and so we were both okay with only having to save up at least 6 months worth of expenses. But that is a conversation that we had together. And so if you're married or anything like that, I would really encourage you to make sure that you make that decision with your spouse. You guys should be making money decisions together because you are a team, and that is how that should work personally, or at least that's what I believe. Obviously, if you believe differently, that's fine, but my advice is you should probably have that talk with your spouse, just so that you're both on the same page financially. All right, and now step number 3. So you've paid off all of your debt and you saved 6 months or more of expenses. And so step number 3, I would say really you don't necessarily have to do this after the other 2 steps. You can really do it at any time, but you need to figure out exactly what your business needs to make in order to be able to supplement your current income. So what that means is just because, so say you currently make $4,000 per month at your current job. Just because you sell $4,000 worth of candles doesn't necessarily mean that you made the amount that you need for your income. Because if you need all 4,000 of those dollars to pay bills, things like that, you also have to think about the fact that your candles and your business costs money to run. And so you need to figure out exactly how many candles you need to sell in order to make the same amount that your current job is earning you. So say you bring home $4,000 a month at your current job and you need $4,000. I would say you're going to need at least $4,500, maybe even $5,000 or $6,000, just depending on how your business runs, how much your candles cost, things like that. But you're gonna need to sell at least 4,500 to like 6,000 or more possibly. Like I said, just depending on your candle costs and things like that, in order to actually be able to take home $4,000 from your business each month. And like I said, this step can be done at any step of the process. This does not necessarily have to be done last or anything like that. You can do that before you even started off paying off your debts and things like that. And maybe your business is already doing really well and you're already making more than what you make at your normal 9-to-5 day job, and maybe you're able to pay off your debts and stuff really fast. And if so, then personally, like, I would maybe put some money in savings just in case. But I think that if you're making as much as your day job normally makes already without having to, you know, have dip into your savings or anything like that, then I think it's time that you can quit your job. And I think that's like a fun time for every, you know, small business owner. I personally haven't left my day job yet. It is something that I'm hoping to do within the next year or so, but we are currently still in the process of saving our 6 months of expenses. We have paid off all of our debt and everything, which is such a nice feeling. It's so nice to be debt free and things like that. It's just a really nice feeling. So we are on step number 2, and hopefully by the time we've finished step number 2, we've saved up our 6 months of expenses. I am hoping that we will be at the point where my business is making enough that I am making the same amount that I bring home from my day job, and so that I can kind of transition out of my 9-to-5 day job and stuff like that. But if you are to that point where you have paid off your debts, you have saved money, and your business is finally making enough to where you can quit your day job, congratulations, because you have truly built a business that is, I just really believe is going to continue doing well. And I just want you to know that if no one else has told you, I am super proud of you and I'm super happy for you. But if there was anything in this video that you feel like I left out or maybe didn't explain super well or anything like that, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, please leave it in the comments below and I would be glad to answer it for you. I do try to answer every comment. Sometimes they do get missed, or sometimes I just don't always have tons of time, and so I'm sorry if I don't reply to everyone, but I do try my best to reply to as many questions as I can. And so if you have any questions about today's topics, let me know and I would be glad to answer them. But with that, that is going to be it for today's video. If you guys would like to continue hanging out, you can check out one of these other videos that are about to pop up on the screen, and I will see you there.